Hello, everyone. Welcome back. GE115, Engineering Graphics. I want to talk a little bit about the graded problem that we had this week. It was on sectioning. Should have looked something like this, right? This is actually one of you students, one of your students, one of the students in the class that produced this. Very nicely done. Good job on the polyline here, creating that. That's not always easy to do. And then, of course, the polyline arrow, nice thick cutting plane line. That's great. Remember that it's always more dramatic here than it is going to be in here. So this is where you want to view it. And you want to kind of zoom into it and take a look at it. Now, that hatching, that looks a little too dense. So we probably need to change that and open that up a little bit. It's not supposed to look like a fill. It's supposed to be lines. Remember, we don't want the lines to line up with geometry. Now, this doesn't line up. So this is okay, but it's kind of close. So I'd probably change that a little bit. So I'm going to do it here in layout just so we can see the changes. Okay, so I can click on that, and the information should come up here above. I'm just going to change the angle a little bit. I don't always know which way it goes, so I'm just going to put in 10 degrees. Oh, that was the wrong way, right? So let's see if I can put in -10. Yeah, so that works. So that makes it more perpendicular here and going away. And again, I might even continue to play with it -20. Yeah, so we did that. That's good. And now I'm going to change the scale and see if I can make it kind of spread out a little bit. That's a 10 scale. That's a little much. That looks pretty good. I'm going to go back to paper space and zoom out and take a look at it from here. So yeah, that's a little better, but this is an excellent job. The actual dimensions you put down, I was less worried about. The placement and whether they're all there, and I'm not really worried about that, just how you did the section. So what we are missing is, this is called section AA. So on this little arrow, there should be the letter A, okay? So I'm actually just gonna click on this because I see it's in paper space. And I'm gonna go Control C, and then I'm gonna go Control V, and you can see that I can come in here, I can place it, right? Then I can click on it and just write the letter A. So, a few different ways to do that. And I can copy that over to here. So yeah, zoom in a little bit, fine tune this a little bit. So I'm totally okay with how this person did the arrows. I don't mind that. But we needed to have that cutting plane labeled so it works with this section down here. Okay. The only other thing I can really say is that these dimensions appear to be kind of different. So see the 40, the size of that dimension, and the leader here, slightly different. And my guess is this is not being annotative and this is being annotative. So we can check that by going to home and just looking it over, pulling this down and seeing, oh, it is annotative. So then what they must have not done is went in and changed that text type to the correct text type. So there's lots of things to really mess with your drawing. So these A's that I just put in, they're pretty small. So I'd want those to pop out a little more and be a little more dramatic. So I'm going to show you how to change that. So I'm just going to right click on the grip and go to properties, right? And you can change individual things by doing that. So instead of 1.3, I'm going to go to 2.5. That looks better. I could have done them both at the same time by choosing them both, click and click. I'll show you how this works. When I right click on it, I can go to properties, but it's already going, right? And it tells me up here, it says, oh, there's 2 pieces of text that are chosen, right? 2 pieces. And then as I go down, I can see the paper text type varies because they're different sizes. Okay. So in here, I can then go and put 0.25 and it'll make them both the same. So you can kind of globally make some changes to your objects. Like I could choose this and maybe, you know, make some changes and make them the same. So let's see, it's grabbing it all. If it doesn't give you the choice, then it can't do it. So for example, I'm looking for text height. I don't see it. And that's because they're 2 different things, a leader and a dimension. It's not like I have 3 dimensions chosen. I have a leader and a dimension. They're different. All right, so I couldn't do those kind of things all at once. But similar objects you can. So I'm just going to look at this. This is basically how I go through your stuff when I grade it. I can see that the text height is 0.13, probably 0.125, but it's just rounding it. And now let's go look at this thing. Properties, and I go down and I can see that the text height is 0.18. 0.125 is what I want. So it'll make that change for me. Okay. And again, I could have done both those leaders at the same time to get them all kind of dialed in. All right. So just as I get going with my hands a little bit, just yarded the mic right out of my head. Love this online stuff. All right, so with that said, that's enough on this, right? But I am going to show you the new skill or the new course outcome that we have to cover, and that's blocks. So, you know, blocks are used by a lot of different folks, and essentially what they're for is if you have something that you want to repeat over and over and over within a drawing or even in other drawings, that's what we want to create a block. That's when we want to create the block and save it. So kind of first thing, you're going to need an organizational system to save these things. There's 2 different kinds of blocks. There's a block, and that's just going to be within the drawing. And then there's a write block, a W block. I always make W blocks, then I can use them in other places. Now, you can use a block, a regular block, in another drawing. You just have to go steal it from that drawing. Okay, so it's a little more difficult. For example, if I wanted to, if these concentric circles right here were important to me, and I want to use them over and over and over, like in section view and other parts of the drawing and anywhere, I could turn them into a block. So block is here, insert and block, but I'm just going to type in W block because that choice is not there. And it'll allow me to do a world block or a write block. I think they call it write block now. It used to be in version way back, world block. All right. So it's going to be objects. I could do entire drawing, but I'm just going to do objects. It wants to know a few things. It's going to want to know the objects. That's this area. And it's going to want to know a base point. Like when you insert this block, where do you want to insert it by? Where's the base point? Okay. So I'm going to do the select objects first, and I'm just going to cross them like that. So I know it's hard to see with this color, but those are kind of dotted and chosen. So I'll hit enter, because when you're done selecting things, you got to do that. And then I'll do a pick point, and I'm going to pick right in the geometric center. So I'm going to grab this thing by the center, okay? And then down here is the destination. So for me, desktop 2021 blocks, looks like I have a folder that's made, and you might want to make that folder ahead of time. But then it names it new block. And I'll just, because we're just making this up, I'll just say circles. You would want it more descriptive than that, but you can actually size blocks when you pull them in. So it could be circles if I knew what that was. And then the insertion units, inches, and say, okay. So it does it, it creates it. It doesn't really tell you that it does much. It doesn't manipulate your original objects, all that's still there. But if I was to go over here and say insert and browse, and it's going to look in my 2021 blocks because I've interacted with that folder, but there it is, circles. And if I say open, it'll say, and okay, I'll have them. So you can see they're attached to my cursor. And if I place them, they go in as a block, one object. So that can be an advantage to bring file size down. Blocks go in as one object, not 4 objects. Okay. Now, disadvantage is I can't really manipulate it. I can only manipulate it as one object, but you can explode the X, and I'll see explode show up, and I can explode this thing, and now it's back to individual objects. Okay. So I have a block made. I saw there was another block there. Let's look at what that block is. It's called faceplate. So it looks like something that I made that, again, I thought was valuable and I could use it in any drawing. So this can be pulled in. These W blocks can be pulled in anywhere. Okay, so I'll just open that up and say, okay. And actually, I'm going through that a little too fast. Let me do that again. I'll hit insert faceplate. Sorry. I want you to see the dialog box. If I could do that, maybe insert. It's not going to give it to me. There are different ways you can insert it if you slow down and look at that dialog box. Here I'm going to do an insertion point, and then once it's there, I can go take a look at it. Looks like it's a faceplate of some kind, right? But if I needed that over and over and over in the drawing, it's kind of handy. All right, so AutoCAD comes with some sample blocks. So I want to show those to you. If I go block and say more options and then browse for it, you might want to take notes on this because it's not that easy to go find these things. But I'm going to show you just some kind of space planner stuff that's kind of fun to look at, more fun than the fasteners or the electrical circuit stuff that you'll see I'll cruise around and look at. But and then there's a lot of blocks, you know, on the internet that you can go get for free. Just be careful because some want you to pay for stuff and you don't have to. And there's a lot of advertising and some spam out there and also some viruses. So be careful. Anyway, if you pull down the look in area, what we have to do is we have to go to the software program files. So I'm going to go all the way back to Windows, and this is how it's on my machine. It's probably like this on your machine too, though. So if you're running a Windows setup, it's going to be like this. But there's program files, and there should be Autodesk. That's the parent name to the AutoCAD software. And there should be some, of course, it's different. Let me look here. We can find AutoCAD. So we don't want Revit. That's a different, oh, there it is. Sorry. These are all different softwares. There's AutoCAD 2019. So we're getting pretty deep into this tree. But if you go down, there should be some samples. Sample. And then there's different kinds of samples, mechanical sample. This is English or US type samples. So let's go look in there. And the design center is kind of where I really wanted to go. So inside the design center, you'll see a bunch of different sample drawings. These are drawings. But inside the drawings, there is some blocks. So if I click on that, you can see that I see the blocks that are inside there. So that's kind of fun. So I'll say okay to that and I'll bring them in. Now, Where are they? Well, they could be large, right? They could be real size where this is kind of small. And that's why you want these blocks, is they are real size. Like if you wanted to put a, a toilet in an elevation or a plan view, that's going to help you with some space planning. There's not a ton of this stuff. That AutoCAD's not going to do that. It's just would create too many file sizes. But there is some. There's a top view of a tub, and it's of a specific size that you can, place it in, and you could scale it, and becomes a space planner. So blocks, that it came in as one. What do we got to do? We would have to explode it to get it individually. X. So now we have some individual blocks, right? As one here. I can take that and move it into my floor plan. So that's how blocks work. And they're super handy. So in your lab, I'm going to have you create some space and then create some blocks. So, all right, good luck. And we will talk to you tomorrow.